The Thing from Miss Lake by Joshua Covarubio. Still holding the axe in my hand, I could still hear the screams of my father and brother echoing in my mind, their blood still dripping from my face. I can't believe I killed them. I had no choice. They asked me to do it. It started out like any other night at the lake. We always liked fishing in the snow, enjoying a few beers with our father, talking about how college classes were going. That's when we saw it, that figure hovering over the lake, surrounded by mist. It's cloaked, looked almost alive with what appeared to be blood. Its hands moving over the water. A bright red glow came from the lake, letting out a horrible sound from the water. Black tendrils surrounded the hooded figure. It stopped and looked at us. It had no face, just two red eyes. Its head jolted to the side as one tendril wrapped around its neck. That sound from the water gave out a painful cry. That was the last thing I remember before falling to the floor. My body felt like it was on fire. Every bone and muscle felt sore. I was the first to wake up. Flashes of fire, bones, and death filled my mind. We were covered in black ooze. I swear it was moving. Looking out the window, I couldn't see the cloaked figure, but it was still fresh in my mind. I could hear the voice clearly. Somehow I knew it was the hooded figure. It yelled. They awoke with the last cry, their eyes filled with ooze. Black tendrils wrapped around their bodies. My body remained free. The shack cracked as a black mass emerged from the floor, its body, or what appeared to be a body, covered with teeth. The sounds of bones crunching drowned out their cries. It was teeth chomping, ripping away their flesh. So much blood. Kill us, they cried. Their cries. Pulling the axe from the wall, I swung it into their heads. Blood. So much blood. Once they were dead, I swung at the creature. It let out the same cry that caused me to fall. It was the same feeling I had just before I blacking out. Even if I were to make it out of the cabin, I knew people wouldn't believe me. How could they? Trying to keep myself balanced, I ran into the snow, holding the axe tightly in my hand. The roar followed behind it. It was getting close. I ran for our cabin. The air was still. Just the sound of those chomping teeth filled the air. The sound shook the woods. Not an animal in sight. What was that? Its face, covered with cuts from others who fought for their lives. Those milky white eyes, still staring at me. Reaching our cabin, I closed the door, looking out the window. Nothing but snow. Each shadow moved just like the beast. Holding the axe, I waited. The sun was gone. The wind came back to life, the branches moving in a dance. I could still hear the howl curdling through the water. Then I saw those eyes. They were outside my window. Its body was moving like a skull of piranha fixed on their meal. Its mouth opened, rows of teeth. In the center, my father and brother's faces looked back at me. They were part of it now, their features slowly absorbing into its body. Two new sets of teeth, now where their heads were.
They are free. You need to fight.
I don't know how, but I knew it was a hooded figure speaking to me. Fight? Fight what? The door broke open. the sound of teeth chomping. I held my leg as my father and brother's former faces bit into my. Raising the axe, I hit the beast, letting out a cry. I kept swinging. I felt lightheaded. Trying to stay awake, I saw him, the red hooded figure standing in the doorway, raising its hands. A blue light filled my eyes, then darkness. Son, I need you to wake up. I opened my eyes. I saw a policeman standing over me. My leg was missing, a belt wrapped around the stump. Teeth, blood, flesh. Those eyes flashed in my mind. My father and brother's bodies were in the cabin, in the exact position as the ice shack. Their heads missing, axe in my hand. I tried to tell them what happened. I knew how it sounded. How could they believe me? All they found was a boy covered in blood. They searched the ice sack. Not one drop. Only a small hole remained. Everyone staring at me, their faces pale. The next thing I remember was waking up in a hospital, handcuffed to a bed. Not like I could go anywhere with one leg, but I guess they thought I would try anyway. They asked me the same questions over and over again. Why did you kill them? What did you do with their heads? Did you hide it with your leg? No matter how many times I told them my story, they grew even more frustrated. Lying in the hospital, I yelled for anyone to listen. It felt like days. I could hear the cries of my family being consumed by the creature. The lights started to flicker when I heard the howl again. The monster was at the foot of my bed, holding my leg, its mouth moving once again. A single black tongue licked the severed end of my leg. The room shook as it growled. Those teeth. Get it over with, I yelled. Do it. Eat. Its body consumed the room. I cried. A nurse passed by the window, taking a quick look inside. Do you see it? I yelled. She smiled and waved, her eyes milky white, its mouth open beneath its. I could see more faces frozen in terror. My father and brother dead, their eyes staring back at me. God help me! I closed my eyes. When I heard another scream, the room filled with the blue light. The red-cloaked figure remained, its red eyes staring back at me.
I'm so sorry about your family, but it was stronger than I thought.
Its blood-red cloak started to lift. The room filled with mist. I started to drift off. Trying to hold on, I cried out, "Wait!" He floated over my bed, his face covered by a strange mask with markings of symbols.
I know what you want, but as powerful as I am, I cannot bring back the dead.
They're going to put me away, possibly kill me.
I know, Harry. That's why I'm going to help you.
I awoke in the hospital room, 2 officers beside me. They told me how they found a large bear covered in my family's blood, bone fragments from my leg in a cave not far from where they found me. The doctors figured my story was just some way of coping with the loss of my family. But I know that what happened was real. The red-cloaked man was real. He saved me. Even though I'm safe, I still see those smoky eyes of that nurse staring at me. I only hope I don't have to use the surgical blade I lifted on her.